Hello, today I'm covering a really important part of the updated installation standard 60079 Part 14. I'm covering the Annex C test for EXD cable gland selection. If you're involved in hazardous area design, selection or installation, then you're not going to want to miss this. There has been a major update to the cable and cable gland selection process for EXD, especially when it comes to deciding if you need a barrier gland or a non-barrier gland. And that's where this new Annex C pressure test comes in. There's still a lot of people that don't know about this test, so I really hope this helps. In the new standard, you follow a specific flowchart to determine the right type of EXD cable gland. And in many cases, you'll end up with two options. You either install a barrier gland or you carry out this Annex C pressure test. Here's how it works. The Annex C test is very straightforward. It's a 5-second pressure test on a cable to check whether it's loosely constructed enough to let a flame pass through the gaps and escape, because in EXD, we're trying to keep that explosion in. So you apply a pressure of 300 pascals to the cable, which is a really low pressure, and then you monitor the pressure drop. If the pressure drops more than 150 pascals or 50% in 5 seconds, then that's a fail and you'll need to use a barrier gland for this type of cable. If the pressure holds or drops less than 150 pascals over 5 seconds, the cable has passed the test and you're probably good to go with a standard elastomeric seal. There are nuances, so understanding the risks behind your decisions is really important, but that's what the Annex C test is there for. It tests the cable. So let's run through a test. First, you fit the cable and you want to be applying just enough pressure to seal around the outside. Second, you apply the correct amount of pressure and close the valve. So you want to be hitting just above 300 pascals. Then you measure the time it takes to drop the pressure. Although the test itself is only 5 seconds, it's good practice to record how long it takes to reach the target pressure. This cable's passed. Then you record it in the test report template. Then you go back to the flowchart and finish the selection process. Some top tips for performing this test. Don't over tighten the cable gland. You need just enough pressure to seal. If you over tighten it, you could squeeze the cable and give you a false positive. 2 is use a running clock or timer. It gives you a much more accurate result if you're recording the test. So look, the test is quite straightforward. The tricky part in the changes to the standard will be making sure your procedures are solid. You need to ensure the test is carried out and recorded properly with clear accountability. In a lot of cases, it will be easier to just use a barrier gland and avoid the hassle. There's still a lot of people out there who aren't aware of the changes to the standard or how to use them correctly. I've built a specific training course for those involved in the design and selection process. It's not just the installers that need to know this stuff. If you want to fully understand how to conduct a proper EXD selection process to the latest standard, then I can help. Let me know in the comments if you've used this test or if it's brand new to you. I'd love to hear your feedback. See you on the next one.